All right. Good morning, Zach. We're a day early. It's Thursday, but it's game day,
Yeah,
so that's good news.
game day. I know it feels good. Feels good. Feels good to have a short week after Sunday for sure.
So there's a ton to talk about, but I need you to, I guess, make it make sense. I've heard a lot of people's takes. What the heck happened on Sunday? Let's get it out of our system.
It the Ravens are very good at beating the Ravens, and they did it once again.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was one of those things where Deshaun Watson, 14 for 14 in the second half. Every drive, the Browns only had 3 drives, scored 3 touchdowns, then get it back. A fourth time, go down, easy peasy, kick the game winning field goal. It was just a tough. It was just tough to watch as a Ravens fan, as someone who just prides themselves so much on the defense and how good and dominant we can be. Yeah, there was the Lamar interception, but besides that, it was just a game that was full of we almost had him. Deshaun barely breaking out of sacks, making plays with his legs. And then I finally get over it. And then yesterday it comes out that the entire second half, Deshaun had a high ankle sprain and a fractured shoulder. So he did all of that with just probably playing at like 10%. So very just huge hit to the Ravens have a dominant defense ego for sure.
So on the spectrum of Ravens fans, as far as like where we go to analyze what the heck happened, after we finish analyzing it, some people want to go macro and we want to make wholesale changes. It's a reflection of the coaching staff. Where do you fall? What's your 2 cents on Harbaugh? How much responsibility goes to him?
I can't put it on the coaching staff because like I kind of said a few minutes ago, it was a game of inches. If the ball on that final drive bounces away strip sack, if it bounces a different way and we fall on it, we don't have these conversations.
What do you say? Because I got like so many people in my life. I won't name names here, but
yeah,
they hate. It's just Harbaugh's fault. It's the culture. It's blah. It's Harbaugh. Ever since Ray Lewis left, we lack leadership. I hear that all the time. What's your 2 cents on that?
No, and Harbaugh is the way I look at it is, yeah, there over the past few years there has been a theme of blowing leads late. But in the first 9 years of Harbaugh's thing, I forget the statistic, but he was like over 70-0 in games where he had a lead with such and such time left in the fourth up until 2020, I believe. So I think it was just one of those things where the right plays were called. It was one of those games where we had guys around Watson, we had plays to be made, and it just didn't happen. I mean, so it really was just a frustrating game because the plays were there. I mean, you can't necessarily look at it and say the Ravens played an awful game because there were so many good spurts, but then just when it all happened, we had too many collapses.
All right, so I'm gonna make you explain 2 things for me. First thing, it just so we talked about this before. How many snaps are guys playing? It's just fascinating because during the game you don't know. You can't see every single player. I don't know if I'm catching you off guard here, but do you know what percentage of the snaps our guy Geno Stone played? Because it wasn't as many as
it was. I want to say I saw somewhere it was it 49?
Not quite. He got up to 60.
That's what it is.
It was 67%, but Marcus Williams played 99%. When we're watching a game, you watch the film, you sit there, you're very sober-minded after the game's over.
Yeah. Very much after.
But it's hard to see like whose fault it is in the secondary. And obviously that one was a 2nd and 19, the back-breaking play. So just to take it through the sequence, I know everybody remembers, but it's 1st and 10. The crowd goes crazy. We get a false start. So now it's 1st and 15. Then Owe, I think, gets the sack, right?
Yeah. Yep, the strip sack.
Right.
Yeah, don't
now
recover.
It's 2nd in forever, 2nd and 19, whatever it is. And then Cooper's just sitting over the middle. You're like, wait, Geno Stone's going to get his 8th interception. That's where he's supposed to be. What is it because Marcus Williams got paid? Give me some analysis here on
Yeah.
Marcus Williams. Why did Geno Stone not play the whole game? What are your thoughts here?
I think it, it's one of those situations I'm very much up on in the air about because Geno Stone has played so well this year. I do personally believe he should be out on the field, but at the same time, we all know what Marcus Williams can be, and kind of like what you were just saying, I'm kind of worried maybe that we're playing Marcus Williams based on what we know he can be and not what he currently
Which
is.
would have been reversed, right? Like Geno Stone could,
Yeah.
and like, why can't Marcus Williams ease his way back into it?
Yeah, that's what I would have preferred. Especially, I still don't think Marcus's arm is 100%. I think he's still playing. I think it's way better than it was the first time he kind of came back with it. But at the same time, I'd rather have a completely healthy Geno Stone playing 99% of the snaps and Marcus Williams playing 2/3 and kind of rotate it like that than kind of putting Marcus Williams completely back out there and being like, okay, Geno, we'll kind of place you as fifth.
And I know I'm probably nitpicking with this one, but again, when we lose, I'd rather get into the nuances instead of the macro and like, hey, was there anything that could have been done differently? Because I'm all about a solution. On the 2nd and 19, Michael Pierce is in the game there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get a great pass rush. That's an automatic passing down. I thought that was a little bit of a slip.
Yeah.
He played a lot of snaps. The most disheartening play of the game, besides Watson breaking free, is then they just run the ball for like 13 yards. What the hell is happening? So
beat us in the trenches?
Is that a big picture thing though? Like, what am I supposed to think about tonight? Like, was that just we were on the field too long? Like, what do you think happened there at the end of the game?
I think the defense was just done. I think, the Browns in the second half, me and you have talked about so much, how you have to dominate in the trenches. When you win in the trenches and you can really get momentum there, you can dominate the game. And when the Browns were having these 10-minute drives and really just getting the defense tired, then in the fourth quarter, it got to the point where the Browns could run at will because we were so gassed and they had all this energy and momentum for it. And then you saw, we stop him after 6 yards and then the pile pushes another eight.
In the Ravens game.
Yeah, that was kind of the moment where I was like, yeah, this is over. We're done.
So I think the defense, I'd like to think, like you just said, that was kind of maybe a situational thing, not a reflection of what to come.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line, I know look, if you're going to be worried about something tonight, if you're going to be worried about something moving forward, Stanley's not playing. Clearly what happened at the end of the game, from my perspective, when I say but from my perspective, once we stopped winning on first down, because the balance was there. Like, we didn't have enough. We can talk about Keaton Mitchell in a second. I'll get you riled up. But as far as we just couldn't get anything going because the offensive line failed us. Is that something is that more of a one-off like it was with the defense? Or are you really concerned? And without Stanley, the Bengals, I'll set you up this way. So Hendrickson's playing for the Bengals, but Hubbard's not.
Yeah.
He's his favorite football player at the moment after what happened last year. He took him 3 hours, but he somehow got down there and scored the game-winning touchdown. We won't have to see him tonight, but the Bengals are very well coached.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look too much into what happened last week because the Stroud is just really, really good. What do you think the offensive line looks like tonight and, frankly, moving forward?
I think it's going to be – the offensive line is not as bad as what we saw last week. I don't think it's a great spot. I don't think it's going to be a strength. I think if you're going to have a worry on the offense, it will be the offensive line. But I don't necessarily think it's as bad as it could be. I think as long as Zeitler's still getting there, because I know he left the game for a little bit, but then he didn't even have an injury designation, which was nice to see. So just getting key guys back there. Hopefully Simpson gets back to 100%, although I know his pass blocking has been suspect at best at times. Hubbard being out is definitely a big, I don't want to say it's not an advantage because Hendrickson's still playing. They still have a good defense,
Mm-hmm.
but it definitely helps if we're going to be missing a guy like Ronnie Stanley for them to miss a guy. Hendrickson is playing somehow. I don't know if he knows he has a left leg right now. He's on so much medicine, but after watching what happened to him last week, for him to come back after a hyperextended knee in 3 days, that's not human. So good for him, but I don't know how that's humanly possible. I'm not worried about it. If tonight goes poorly on it, I'll start to worry. But I think I'm hoping it was just a very dominant Browns defensive line kind of taking over.
Fair enough. So let's set it up, the Keaton Mitchell conversation this way, because that's the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I heard Harbaugh say something after the Seahawks game that bothered me, and I think this is what happened. So after he said something about he wanted to make sure Keaton Mitchell stayed humble, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, was he walking around like bragging too much? Like that seemed like a weird thing for an undrafted, free agent to be like needing to stay humbled. And then we get into the game, and I'm thinking to myself, like, are we worried about other people's feelings? Do other people need to touch the ball? Is Keaton Mitchell like not being nice to people? Like, what the hell is going on? Because after the game, Harbaugh, and the worst thing about Harbaugh as a fan is it's like Elias and Hyde. It's like the truth serum, and then Harbaugh. DeCosta is decent, but Harbaugh is just I don't know. Anyway, he doesn't want to tell.
He's the coach talk of coach talk.
So what is it? Because my biggest gripe with sports fans is when we call people stupid that like coaches stupid. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, once in a while, I guess they can make a stupid decision, but they're not stupid. So it's more of, I think maybe Keaton Mitchell doesn't know all the plays. Like I heard Harbaugh allude to that in his press conference the following day. Go ahead. What the hell happened?
So the only thing that I have seen that makes borderline sense to me is they don't completely trust his pass protection. And if that's the case, I understand it a little bit more.
Elaborate why exactly?
Because when we will say, you need Keaton Mitchell on the field, a lot of people allude to just his playmaking ability with the ball. But the running back also in shotgun and a lot of these, play action stuff, he's got to take on that extra blocker or that extra rusher, a free guy, a safety coming in, a linebacker. And a lot of times the quarterback gets sacked, quarterback gets hit is because a guy like Keaton Mitchell, if he's not good at pass pro, misses the guy. So
you're not saying he is or he isn't, but
that's what I've been seeing that by a few film guys saying that's their biggest issue. I think also kind of what you said, he is a new guy. He's coming off, he had a lingering hamstring injury, did not look like it was bothering him on that run, but I digress. That's just me. But I would like to see Keaton Mitchell get between 7 and 10 touches tonight. I don't think it has to be the run. I think getting him in space is where he's the most dangerous. Toss it to him, do the screen passes again. Anything to just get him the ball in space is going to benefit the team. But I do understand Justice Hill is a lot better supposedly at pass protection. I haven't necessarily gotten into that film yet, but from what I've been hearing, that looks to be the reason that they're giving Justice Hill these 3rd and 8 situations over Keaton Mitchell.
Well, thank you for explaining it. Listen, as a fan, the most exciting thing watching sports is like when you see a play that's completely different. Because you watch so much and they all try so hard. They're all so good. So when you see somebody do something, and the way he turned the corner, it is on the short, it is like Tyreek Hill speed. Like he turned the corner on, not the defensive end, not on the linebacker. That was like the corner, the safety, whatever that guy was. He turned the corner so explosive, so fast.
And he was gone.
Unbelievable. So we'll see what happens. Let's kind of spin things forward with the game tonight. What do we make? We can talk about the Ravens. I think I got one more thing to throw at the Ravens, but I want to do that at the end.
Mhm.
Let's move to the Bengals because the Bengals feel like, hey, what the heck's going on with them? I personally am probably higher than maybe the average person. I think even the loss last week didn't really
Yeah.
sway my opinion at all. I think
Mhm.
Stroud's hot. I think just one of those things. What should I look for tonight? How does Cincinnati? What's their game plan? I want to set you up this way. I heard Adam Thielen say last week during Thursday night um, that Thursday night football is backyard football. Like it's
Mhm.
the definition. I feel like that favors offenses tonight. Do we see a
Yeah.
lot of points? What do you think the game plan is from a put your Cincinnati coach head on? How are they going to game plan against us?
Yeah, I mean, I wanna say there's gonna be a lot of points, but at the same time, it's NFL prime time this year, so it'll probably be like a 9-6 game, just
Right.
disgusting. No touchdowns, but I think this is gonna be the first game we've talked about where I'm not gonna say they're gonna try to establish the run. I I think it's going to be a classic Joe Burrow quick passing game. They don't have T. Higgins, so
Mhm.
I think the big difference maker is going to be Tyler Boyd. I think the Ravens are going to try their best. They don't care if they have to double team him. They're going to take Jamar Chase out of the game. So I think the Bengals game plan is going to be how can we get Tyler Boyd the beneficial matchups? How can we get him in the slot against a linebacker, against, a guy in zone like a Kyle Van Noy? How can we make that happen instead of we're going to try to force feed Jamar Chase and make something happen? Now, I'm sure Jamar Chase will take some 2 yard screen, 90 yards to the house, and
Oh
everyone
my
will
God!
give
Don't say
Joe
that out
Burrow.
loud. I'm cutting you. Don't say that out loud.
Yeah. And everyone will give Joe Burrow all the credit for it for an incredible throw. But,
Chase.
it's I think it is going to be a game where the Bengals, as much as I think Joe Mixon is a great running back, they just do not seem to trust him some games. It's like even when he's running well, I'll look up and I'll be like, he only has 11 rushes on the game. And it's mind-boggling to me, but they don't seem to necessarily trust the run at all times.
I think certain teams that have too many mouths to feed. You have a
Mhm.
situation where and Cincinnati has a lot of mouths to feed. Higgins has to get paid. Irv Smith, their tight end, played well against Buffalo. I heard Burrow talk very highly about him.
Mhm.
Keep your eyes on him for tonight. So that's Cincinnati's offense from your perspective. Defensively, how do you say this coordinator's name again? Lou what?
Lou Amarillo? I
Amarillo.
just know everyone yeah, I just know everyone calls him Lou.
So he gets the credit if you're a football fan. He gets the credit. I shouldn't say it like that. If you're really following it and you followed the playoffs the past few years, he gets a ton of credit for quote unquote figuring out Mahomes, designing defenses that maybe other teams have started to copycat to combat Patrick and what the Chiefs defense does. Against the Ravens, Lamar's had some mixed success. Sometimes he's looked good, other times he's been a little
Mhm.
confused. What do you think? Who do you think wins the chess match tonight? Do you think or let me ask it like this: do you think the 3 days favors the Ravens offense, or you think it favors more Cincinnati's defense?
I think it's gonna favor the Ravens offense because I think the Ravens are going to run the football. And I think if this is a game where you are hoping Lamar comes out here and in front of the national audience puts up 400 passing yards, I do not think this is going to be your favorite game. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are one of the worst run defenses in the league. And it is pretty well known. And I know for a fact that the Ravens know that and that the Ravens are going to look to exploit getting Gus Edwards going, getting Justice Hill, getting Keaton Mitchell going, while also keeping the threat of having Lamar's legs in the game and then building off that with the play action, trying to get the ball to Mark Andrews. I think this is going to be one of those games where it's a 21-17 game. Like I said before, it's primetime NFL, so I'm sure it'll be 3-0 by the fourth quarter, and it'll be the worst game you've ever witnessed in the history of the game. But that's primetime football for you this year.
So the Ravens, in your opinion, frustrated that they lost time of possession.
Mhm.
Are probably a little tired. Cincinnati's coming in on the road. They're going to try to pound the ball, control time of possession, and then it's going to be a red zone game. In your opinion, that's kind of how the game gets decided. If we can,
Yes, yes. So I'm going to the way I see it is the Ravens are going to try to control time of possession. They're, like you said, they saw the second half of last week and they're like, we are not doing that again to our defense. They're going to try to go up and down the field, hold on to the ball, really just control the game. But I think that quick fire offense of the Bengals could potentially hurt them in this situation because they're going to try to, at points, be like, we want to just score. We want to score. So even if they score fast, if the Ravens just came off an 8-minute drive, then they score in 5 plays, get the Ravens offense back out there. I could see that being an advantage for the Ravens if they're trying to control the game while Cincinnati is still trying to run their pass heavy air offense.
this is what I wanted to throw at you. Tell me, I've been thinking about, so ever since we lost the game on Sunday, I've been thinking about why it felt so different. And then, like I said, I got a lot of friends in my circle that are really mad at Harbaugh. Like everything's always his fault.
Yeah.
And I usually defend him and I like playing devil's advocate on just everything. So I like just on the other side and whatever. But this is what I wanted to throw at you. And I think this is why people are frustrated. The term complementary football. Ravens fans were first of all, complimentary football requires no ego, right? Because complimentary football means the offense is doing things that benefit the defense, special teams, defense, offense. It all supposed to go together, but everybody's got to get paid. And everybody's got to get stats. I was telling you before, I coach an elementary school basketball team. And I'm like trying to explain to them, like, you should be just as happy when the other kid scores on our team than when you score. And they're like, no, I want to score. Like that's
I just want to score.
And so at the professional level, like it's a lot of it's the same way. So some of the best complementary football teams of our lifetime, if you will, is like those 3 Patriots teams because Brady was limited. That's Steelers, Roethlisberger team when he was a rookie because Roethlisberger was limited. Even that Tebow team, because Tebow was limited, played complementary football, right?
Yeah.
So Ravens fans are used to, before Lamar Jackson, having to play complementary football because the quarterback position outside of Flacco for 6 weeks, it was just like you knew how every game was going to play out for the Ravens. In the sense of, can we make enough plays to win a close game? But if we're going to get the lead, especially certain years, especially a 2-score lead, it's
over.
And we would never really have those. I can only remember a handful of them. But the reason I wanted to what I wanted to throw at you is, I don't think it's a reflection on Lamar as a person or as a player. But when you build the team around the best player is the quarterback, and then you think, well, how am I supposed to ask him to play complementary football when I signed Odell Beckham? Mark Andrews is frustrated in training camp because he wants touches. After the game, Ravens fans will keep Mitchell to get touches. Start looking around. It's like in 2019, we played to just simply win the game. And I don't know. Please tell me. I don't care. It's my podcast. If you disagree, that's fine. But I just wanted to throw out there that I think that Ravens fans are frustrated now because it's like we don't lose. Like I've been a fan for the Ravens for 25 years. Like why are we losing games that we should be winning? I'm used to losing the games 13-10, and we just couldn't make enough plays, and it's whatever. But
if the Baltimore Ravens score 31 points, you expect them to win that game every single time. I mean, like that. It's still mind-boggling to me that with this defense we could do that and lose. But I think in a lot of ways you're spot on. It is now. There's pressure on the offense to not just be this, okay, let's go put up 21 points, let's control a game, let's do this, and we'll win the 21-10 game, we'll win 21-14. We're okay with just holding on to the ball, letting the defense dominate. Now there is some pressure. You have Lamar Jackson, supposed to be this MVP quarterback. You have Odell. You have these weapons. And it's like, wait, no, we should be putting up 40 points a game. Like, let's go. And then that's where I feel like, yeah, these mistakes that we make can be, magnitude, because suddenly we're throwing it one mistake and now it's a pick six the other way. And I mean, the Browns missed the field extra point, so it's not a tie ball game, but with a competent team, you're probably in a tie ball game. And so it is one of those situations where in other years, who knows, maybe it is something where they're focused on the run and they really just want to just waste the clock and just kind of, we don't care if it's ugly, let's get out of here. Whereas now there's that, we have Lamar Jackson, we got to win this game, by a million.
Well, you just remember the Flacco. We lost that AFC Championship game when Palomalu was it 09 intercepted. Mm-hmm. Ray didn't get upset with I remember Ray not getting super upset with him. I remember after Cundiff missed the field goal, Ray. It was the identity was if Flacco could just do enough. The way the team is structured is we know who we are. And we just need enough. And then sure enough, we got there. With this team, it's like, what exactly do we need? Aren't we just the best team? Like we got players at all these different positions, but something just doesn't feel right. I'm hoping I feel better. What time? 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm hoping I feel a lot better in about 15 hours. But I just feel like I have no idea what to expect. I used to feel like I had the pulse of the Ravens. I felt like I knew what Flacco was doing before he did it. And now I have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it more frustrating, though, because before we would lose a game like this where the other team kicks a random game-winning field goal, and we'd be like, "Well, that's Ravens football." We played the tough physical game, and we lost. But now it's like we're sitting here like, we're supposed to be the best team in the league. Like, why did we lose? And I think it has come to that point where we have this, incredible talent that we're like, when we lose, we look around like, wait, hold up a second. How did we lose? Like, we have the best team in the league.
Well, because you haven't changed your background, I'm preparing for that early April where people start messaging you, be like, so Adley's not good anymore and Gunner's not good. It's like, we're supposed to win every game. It's like,
exactly.
You do have to take a deep breath and be like, thank God we're not, look, being fans of the Ravens, at the end of the day, it's like a full-time job. And it's much better when we've been competitive. So I probably can nitpick hardball with the best of them. Like I can find things I don't like, but I'm grateful that we've been competitive. I'm grateful that we spend the money. So it is a fun team to root for.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens tonight. Your final prediction is what, 21-17, you said?
Yeah, Ravens 21-17.
Are you going to the game or what's your plan?
Yeah, I'll be at the bank. Actually, I'm heading downtown in like 3 hours to start filming stuff. No, not to start the festivities yet, because we got to film a few live shows, and then we're heading down to the tailgates and stuff. So Ryan Ripken show at like, I don't know, I say 2:30, but we're always late, so probably like 2:45.
Am I putting you on the spot if I ask you where you're sitting?
No, I'm actually going to be third deck, but I'll be 50-yard line, so it's going to be fun. It'll be good. I'm ready for the energy. That's what I'm excited for.
I hope it's a nice energy. I hope people can just, whatever, it happened on Sunday. Being a fan is not supposed to be, it's like a 24-hour rule or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to do it. Last game, I won't lie, hit a little bit different after found out Deshaun was hurt the whole time. I was like, okay, we'll do the 36-hour rule this time.
Between Deshaun, though, I'll let you roll on this. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't believe anything. I'm probably now just like, I don't know. If Aaron Rodgers ever tears ACL, or is that all fake?
I know. I have gotten into that. I like that conspiracy if he just wants to give it to science and all this stuff. So fake tearing his Achilles so he could come back in 2 months. Which, I mean, if there was ever an athlete to do it, I can't lie, it'd be Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Well, hopefully, first of all, have fun. The show, people follow you on Twitter, so the show will start when it starts. But it's always good. I really enjoy listening to it. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool.
Fun time. Yeah.
All right. Go Ravens.
Go Ravens.